So we're going to show you a little video of our new campus to give you a little idea of where we are.
Thanks, Karen.
You're welcome.
So so a little bit about our university. Hello, my name is Dom and this is Kiara.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Brett.
This is our faculty lead person for comprehensive internationalization. He was in Europe with me, but because of schedule, he didn't make it to your university, and he's like giving me grief about it.
It's only me, right?
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which I'll talk for the first little bit, and then Karen will finish off. Let's just tell you a little bit about us. So we are an American university. Yeah. So we're just like you in terms of our semesters. British university systems are different. They usually first term starts end of September and goes into late January, February. Second term is later. We're in the US system, so our semesters end early August or begin late August, late September, mid-December. Exams are done. That's it. If you're coming for us to study abroad, you can just go home. And then after Christmas, second week of January, it starts roughly, and then goes to the end of April. And then we have summer classes as well. And you guys are more than welcome to come to those. We're American in that sense. We're American as when you pass, you get your GPA. We're American in the fact we've got RAs, RDs, all that kind of support. Everything is American pretty much, except we're also validated in the UK. So the first university validated both the UK and the US. Now that doesn't really have an impact on you, except if you're a graduating student, you actually get two diplomas. You get a British diploma and you get an American one. If you're coming as a study abroad, it makes a little tiny difference, and for degree student, in the sense that the British system is different from the American one. I've taught in New Zealand, in Canada, in the UK, huge believer in a liberal arts model. Massive believer in it. The UK system, if you're an economics student, you just do economics courses. That's it. 3 courses a term, a semester, and that's all you do. I love the liberal arts model because you have that breadth, which gives you a lot more, ammunition to add to your, we call it curriculum vitae, you guys call it resume, right? French students. Anyway, you have these all these additions, and I think students come out much more with much better general education as a result. The Brits don't like that. They want students to specify early on. So that's one difference between the British and US system. As I said, we're liberal arts, so we make students do the British one and then do the liberal arts. The difference for you is that the Brits don't like us over-assessing. The British government doesn't like students being over-assessed, which means you don't have a quiz every week or every 2 weeks or an assignment every week or two. We're not allowed to give grades for participation or attendance. The reason being is at the end of the semester, all my grading, my syllabus, my marking, everything is looked at by professors in my department to make sure that I'm grading fairly. I'm not giving grades too high or too low, that the comments I'm writing are supportive, that my bibliography is up to date. And then all that is sent to professors in other universities across Britain to make sure as external validators that our materials are at a good national level. So that's where it's British. It also means that we can't follow the American system of assessment. As I said, we've got lots of quizzes, that kind of stuff. Instead, it's 2 or 3 assessment points a class, that's it. So it's usually an essay and a midterm, or an essay, midterm, or an exam. Anything we're only allowed to assess points of contact, which we can then show to our externals. That's where we can't do quizzes, regularly, that would be too much, or participation grades. They can't see that. Yeah, so that's one difference. It's hard for us because it's a lot of work, extra work. It's nice for you because, and for our partner universities, is they know the quality of the material being taught. The material is being assessed externally as well as internally. And we don't therefore have, I don't think we've ever had from a study abroad, and I've been at Richmond now for 23, 24 years, any criticism about the academics. So that's a nice bonus point for you. So it's this assessment, and as I said, the fewer points. That's it. Otherwise, I think it'll be really understandable for you all when you come. So that's a US and UK degree. Chiara is our special advisor for North America, for California in particular. So you've already met her, and she'll talk more about that process. But when you submit your classes that you want, as soon as you submit it, within a few days, Chiara will double check your transcripts herself, make sure you got the prerequisites. If something you missed, she'll have a conversation with you to get you into the right classes, which means that 4 or 5 months before you come, you might have your courses for next semester all lined up. You'll know the professor, the time. If you want syllabi, she can send those to you. You should even buy the books ahead of time if you want, if you're really, really keen. So that's a nice thing to know. And if you have any other questions, simple questions like, what is life like in London? What's the weather like, etc. Is it as cold in London as it is in California? She'll be able to answer those questions. Whatever. The US International Student Body, we are an international university, and not only in terms of our dual validation, but our student numbers. We're about 30% US, so 30% of our students actually come from America to do their degrees. We have undergraduate and postgraduates, that includes that material. The other 30%, this is the awkward one, we call domestic, and we're still not big supporters of Brexit. So by domestic, we still refer to EU students. So that means EU and UK. The other 30% are other international. So it's not exact, but that's roughly what we try to aim for. So the idea is in the classes, it makes it really exciting. I was teaching a course in the Crusades once, because I'm a historian, and I had Americans, I had Israelis, I had Palestinians, I had Kuwaitis, I had French, I had Germans. Pretty much, the Americans weren't there, but everyone who was there in the Crusades, their descendants were there. And it makes the classroom really, really, really interesting. So that's our diverse international student body, and our faculty reflect that. And most of us have 2, 3, 4 passports, that kind of thing. So again, it makes it really international, its focus. You saw our modern facilities. Our old campus was this beautiful neo-Gothic structure. We used to call it Hogwarts. Our new tagline is we moved from Hogwarts to Star Trek, because Hogwarts was lovely, but the walls, it was like 250 years old, an old seminary, Gothic. The walls were so thick, Wi-Fi wouldn't even go through them. And the student dorms it was used to be a seminary for Methodist missionaries. So the rooms were quite small and quite windy, drafty, and we're not allowed, because it's a listed building, we're not allowed to do anything with it. So we moved the entire campus to this new site. It was designed by the architect Richard Rogers. I don't know if you're familiar with architecture. One of Britain's most well-known post-20th century architects. He did the Pompidou Center in Paris, the Museum of Modern Art. Like, he's really a huge name. It's a gorgeous campus. It was built in the 90s. Late 90s, but it hasn't dated at all. And the whole building has been restructured for our arrivals. We had our first semester in the fall at this new site. And as part of a bigger site, I'll show you in a second, where we have lots of other, we have internships because we're America as well. We've had a long history of doing them. And we want to leverage more of these internships because we've got this big site with other districts, with other buildings. And we've got Warner Brothers, China Television, Singapore Airlines, Starbucks, CBS, NBC. So the idea now is to start leveraging these also for our services. We already have some partnerships. NBC is been a long-standing partnership, for instance, but that's also what we're doing. And I should say, our building used to be where Disney was. So Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed in our library. I'll show it to you after. So it's kind of cool that Johnny Depp got stuck in the elevator going up to our office. I want to learn more about
We
this.
said people will never know if it's really true.
Yeah, I know, but
It's a nice thought.
I should make something up, but better actor. Yeah, sorry. Small class sizes. We're about 1,200 students. We're a small liberal arts university. So we want to keep class sizes small. 17 is the average. Some are a lot smaller. Some are well, not a lot, but 30. I think is probably the maximum we've got. We'll talk about the accommodation in a second. And yet, high contact hour. That's really important for our British students because, as I said, British kids only have maybe 6 hours of instruction a week. And in the British system, they started making increasing tuition payments for British students recently. Just so you know, across like the U.S., everyone in the UK pays £9,250 a year. That's standard. Yeah. So it's very different from the US. International pays more, but some of them are only getting 5 or 6 hours of instruction. So the fact that we're doing liberal arts, which is, you know, what 16, 17, 18 hours of instruction makes a big difference to the UK students. Yeah. So yeah, this is just another view of some of the buildings surrounding us. There's a beautiful lake and waterfall, as you saw. In the summer, they turn that into volleyball. We also have food trucks come there as well. We're having a graduation here as well. Hoping it doesn't rain. When you get to Richmond, you actually become one of our alums as well, even if you're a study abroad. So that's really useful for you in terms of career trajectories. You'll be on a regular newsletter. It's great to meet students from other parts of the world. So for work or just for fun, to meeting different folks, it's lovely to be part of that. We've also got a good employment rate after 93%. That's the most recent stat. We're top 5 in London for student survey for student satisfaction. Again, I think it's due to the support which our student services gives. They've won an award for that. And we didn't put it on here, but our department won an award this year, a national award for our support for Ukraine refugees, bringing students over and providing online lessons for them as well. So we're kind of proud of that. Just, I don't know how familiar you are with London, but this gives you an idea roughly of where you are. So this is a map of Greater London. This is central London right here. We are a place called Chiswick Park. High Street Kensington is there. I don't know if you're familiar with it. That's where you'd have the Victoria Albert Museum, the Science Museum. What else is there? This, oh my goodness, Science Museum.
Kensington Palace.
Kensington Palace, yeah, where the royal family lives. So it's really, really easy. It's over 10 minutes. It's very, very easy to get to. And then our accommodation, as I said, we used to be in that old missionary building. We've moved now, so we've got accommodation a little bit further away at a place called West Hampstead. That is beautiful area. It's about 2 tube stops from Oxford Circus, which is the center of town where Piccadilly is, all the shows. It's brilliant. It's also apparently the safest borough in London. That's the good news. And London in general is super safe. I mean, my daughter, just so you guys know, I have kids, and my daughter, 12, 13, was traveling on the tube all the time going to school. It's not, you always have to be careful wherever you go, but London is a super safe city. Yeah, so I think that's a really nice point to stress. And just, can you go back just for 1 second?
Yeah.
Sorry. And just so you know, we've got a little video on our website, I'm not sure if you know, where we video a couple leaving one of the rooms in our IQ accommodation, taking the train and coming up the other side. It's literally 22 minutes. You just walk out the building, cross the road, there's the tube station. You get on it. It's not even an underground, this one. It's a straight run, 6 stops. You get off, cross the road, there's the university. It is that easy. So it's nothing to worry about. And this tells you a little bit about where we're located. I've mentioned already some of the places around there. There's also there's a gym in accommodation, which we'll show you, but there's also a Virgin Acton gym next to our university. London, as you can see, has been rated constantly by QS as one of the best student cities, or the best student city. And as you can see, here's some examples of places you can get to super, super easily from Chiswick Park. we're coming
You
to.
want me to? Yeah.
You want to next.
Yeah, sure. So here you can see a list of our undergraduate programs. So you, as a study abroad student, you will be able to take classes from one of these majors. So we offer programs in American Studies, Art History and Visual Culture, Business Management, Entrepreneurship, International Business, Human Resources, Fashion Management and Marketing, Digital Communication and Social Media, and then Advertising and PR, Media Studies, Psychology, International History, Political Science, IR, Marketing, Economics, Finance and Investment, Accounting and Finance, and Computer Science. So when you choose your classes, you will be able to see all of, a list of classes. I think I sent you the list of classes for phone, and you can find them on our website as well. So depending on your major, you can choose the classes you can take at Richmond. These are, this is a list of clubs and societies and events that our student affairs team organizes. And as a study abroad student, you will be able to join the societies and the clubs. And you can see we also organize events targeted to US students, such as Thanksgiving and Halloween. And then we have like lots of other activities going on for you guys, especially during orientation week as well. These are trips and excursions organized by the student affairs team as well. We used to do trips abroad, but that was pre-COVID, and then they decided to count them because also they realized the study abroad students leave on Friday, they come back on the Monday morning for classes, and they organize their own trips together. So, but we still do organize UK trips to like places such as Oxford and Cambridge, Bath and Stonehenge, Brighton, Windsor, which are not too far from London. So they're like daily trips. And then they also do have weekends away to Edinburgh and the Highlands and to Wales. And yeah, you can see some class excursions as well, because London is so big and beautiful that it really becomes our classroom. So your classroom. So if you take classes such as museums and galleries, history of London, British politics inside Parliament is super cool. A very popular class for study abroad students, because you go into Parliament and the class is taught by a member of Parliament, an MP, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And then, yeah, you can go to our galleries, theaters, museums, and all of that.
And most of those are free in the UK.
Oh, yeah, they're free.
Yeah, which is nice.
Apart from the private exhibitions, but and yeah, this is the accommodation Dom was talking about. So it's in West Hampstead, which is in the northwest London, which is a really nice area, a really nice borough of London. It's got a community and village feel. It's 25 minutes from our Chiswick campus. There are lots of transport, and you will be able to choose between rooms in shared apartments, or you could choose to have your own little studio. So the studio is a bit more expensive because there is a kitchenette inside it, whereas the room in the shared apartments is a room with your ensuite bathroom, but the kitchen and the living room is shared with other students, which I think is the best option for a study abroad student. And then this is really important. We have RAs and RDs, and they live in the accommodation, and they are Richmond students. So they're there from the first day to help you to like settle in and all of that. So any problem, you know, they're there, even if they're not on Chiswick campus, but they're at IQ Haywood House with you. Yes, here you can see some photos. So that's the cinema room at the bottom, and that's a shared facility on the ground floor, on the first floor. Here you can see a range of costs. So the cheapest one is £288, and then there are other ensuite, and the difference in prices is really because of the floor where you live. So if you go top floor, it's more expensive because you've got a beautiful view of London. But really, I've been there and it doesn't really matter. I would go for the cheapest option, but it's up to you. And yeah, here you can see some photos. So at the top is the shared facilities I was talking about. It's the living room that you can share with other students. And down there is the kitchen that you will share. So there are 2-3 fridges, I think. So you can buy your own food and have your own stuff in the fridge. And then there's a gym. It's not very big, but still you can use it. And then in the middle at the bottom, there is the studio. So that's the one with the kitchenette inside the room. And the rooms are a good size, but because I think the kitchen is inside the room, it's not ideal, but, and the windows are not, you can't open it fully. So I think, yeah, the shared option is better. And then, yeah, that's the bathroom, and you can see the bed up there. It's really nice and modern. I can't remember if we went together when you came.
No, we didn't have enough
Oh,
time.
we
so
didn't
just
have
had
time.
to-
But yeah, usually we have a
Yeah.
like positive feedback
Right.
from
You
our partners.
graciously
So
offered, I was like,
It's
what I
good.
liked about.
yeah, it's really modern and clean, most
It's very
importantly.
nice. I think you do.
Yes, a few words about academics. So this is the calendar for this fall. The semester starts on the 29th of August with orientation week. You will be checking into your accommodation on the 29th, and orientation week finishes on the 1st of September. The first week of classes is the 4th of September, and it's also add and drop week. So during that week, you can change the classes that you had registered for like a few months before. And then you can come and see me and we can swap them. The 8th of December is the last day of classes, and the final exams are between the 11th and 15th of December. Please do not book any flights before the 15th of September, because the registry services won't give you the option to take the final exams on another day. You can choose 3, 4, or 5 courses per semester. 3 is the minimum requirements for a full-time student. And yes, as Dom was saying, you would receive your course schedule before you arrive in London. As soon as you apply, we can send you the link to register for your classes. This is, these are other deadlines for summer school. Well, I'm not sure any of you will come this year to summer school because it's a bit late to apply now. And the deadline for fall for the application is the 1st of June for Richmond, and for spring 2024 is the 1st of November. As long as you have a GPA of 2.5, you can join us. It's very easy in terms of applying. You go online, you fill in the application form. You have to tick the visiting student 1 semester or 1 year box. And at that point, you will receive a letter of admissions from a letter of acceptance from the admissions office. You have to sign it. And you have to pay your deposit. And apart from that, there are no application or orientation fees. And there are scholarships available, and you can speak to the office here. We only ask for a £200 deposit, just in case at the time that you apply, because we have lots of students who apply. So we do all the coursework in the admissions office, do the same, and then they decide not to come in the end. So this is a new policy that we introduced recently, I think last 4 weeks ago, really. So the students pay £200 at the time of the application, but then if they actually turn up for studying abroad, the £200 will be deducted from the 5,100. If they don't turn up, they will lose £200.
And if I may, because Richmond University has gracious offers to CSU students scholarship. So if you're interested in going and especially being considered for scholarship, your deadline actually is earlier than June 1st. So contact Marisa. We will want to work with you, want to get to know you, we want to know what your plan is, and we'll communicate all that information with our admission officer there. So, this is a very attractive institution, and in addition, it's been not just location and quality of the place and the quality of the professors, because scholarship is really difficult to come by when it comes to study abroad for 1 semester. We want to make sure students that will be coming for scholarship actually can utilize it and we thrive under that circumstances. So contact us, make sure that you, that we said no, you're interested in going to Richmond, and then if you would like to become a scholarship, I will need to talk to you.
And I think that's it, right? Yeah, this is my email address. I will give you my card as well, so if you have any questions that you can think about now, but
The one other
they
thing
come
I
up.
would just add is when you come, we'll also pick your vehicles.
Oh,
yeah.
That's gratis, there's no cost. So.
Any questions? Do you have any you want to ask? Oh yeah, the other thing I forgot, when you register for classes, so if you register for like 3, 4, 5 classes, that's fine. But then you should always have a backup option in case we cancel the class last minute. It's really rare during full semester they will do that, but it happens that the instructor can't teach it last minute. It doesn't happen very often, as I said, but it's always good to have other options, like
Also,
in terms of classes,
You also
that you can
primarily,
transfer.
it's more than that. It's more that also you might decide that you might not like the class that you've done it something similar already. To
Yeah,
that.
if you
So
drop it.
that's more the reason. As I said,
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever
It's
really
very
canceled a
rare.
class, but just in case,
Yeah.
it's nice to have that. And then you don't have to wait for your homeschool and to validate everything. So get 5 and then a few others after.
That's it.
Yeah.
The question.
I have some logistic questions that usually we will receive as international office, international students coming to us. So I would like to think that our American students going to study at your university may have similar questions. First is about visa. For example, we issue documents and then students going to apply for visa, we apply for workshops, how to interview for visa, so that's one.
Don't have to
We
worry
don't
about
have
that.
anything,
In Britain,
yeah.
because the Brits talk about something called a special relationship, which we have with the US, which means no visa. All you have, what your letter you get from admissions, that's all you need to do. No cost, no having to go to a consulate. You just arrive at the airport, show them the letter, they'll stamp your passport. That's valid for 6 months.
If you have a US passport.
If you got a US passport,
Yeah.
yeah, if you maybe are a Nigerian, you're
Yeah,
studying here,
it's
then
a
you
bit-
gotta
you
get it,
have
it's
to get
different.
a visa.
But with US passport, not a problem, no cost.
Unless you stay for the year.
Or-
If you stay for the year.
If you stay for a year or do an internship.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we also, as part of your study abroad, you can decide you're gonna do an internship instead. That is a possibility, and that also looks great on your resume. But for that, you have to get the visa.
And it's very expensive.
Yeah,
It's
so
400,
400 something.
because it's the NHS surcharge, which is the National Health Service. So some students say, oh yeah, I come for an internship, and then we will tell them how much it is. They say, no, thank you, I go for the traditional standard broad semester. I
But
just
that,
want to make clear
Yeah.
it's quite expensive.
but that does give you access to medical help as well, like our
Yeah.
hospitals. Yeah. So it's, it's a bit for 400 some odd pounds, and if you're doing an internship, which I think looks really good on your
Yeah.
curriculum, and some of our internships, the majority now are paid as well. So we can't guarantee you're going to get a paid one, but most
No,
of
they
them
pay
are.
for transport and
Transport and lunch money.
food. Yeah, they wouldn't give you a
Yeah.
salary, but
Some do apparently. No, apparently
That's
quite a few now.
yeah.
I was talking to before I left.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
I didn't know that either until.
Mm.
Questions for those who might want to consider going or your kids going?
Please.
I know that you get a degree for UK and US, so how is it for students who are planning to stay in London after they graduate?
Okay, so if you're coming as a study abroad, you don't get a degree. You just you get your transcript. If you're coming to get your degree, that's not a problem. You get your degree. But the nice thing is, if you want to remain in London, the government has also got something called a post-study work visa, which means you can stay in the UK after you find a job. You've got 2 years to do it. And you can work for 2 years, and if you get a job which you like and your employer says we really like you, one of our colleagues we did that with, then you're able to stay. So it also gives you another option even outside of the US in terms of employment opportunities.
I have a question, or a couple. So you're talking about the post-graduation. Does that mean there's an option for a semester, a year, and like full-time? Or okay.
Well,
Yeah, you can
postgrad,
transfer it.
Yeah, you can transfer in, yeah.
We have a few of study abroad transfer.
Yeah, we have quite a, yeah, it depends. So all those are options.
Yeah.
If you So the study abroad scholarship and the pricing is different from the degree pricing. Yeah, so that there is a different price. Saying that, if your GPA is above 3.7, it's actually probably cheaper for you to do a year as a degree student than it is actually as a study abroad, because you get a really good scholarship. So we have that all on the website. You can see the scholarships, and it's very clearly marked. GPA of 3.7, I think you pay, I think roughly, the rough, it's around 4,700, I think, for tuition US for a year. But then you about £5,000 comes off with GPA 3.7, 3,000 GPA 3.3. So it's still really really reasonable.
Also, these the credits that we would earn here, they're like transferable,
Yes.
like to anywhere, or to most schools.
No, this is the interesting thing. That's why I mentioned the British system. If I'm in a British university, say Leicester, and I transfer to another British university, and I'm British, even then your stuff doesn't transfer. The Brits aren't good at that. So I could do 2 years in a British university and go to another university and have to start again.
Okay.
It's not, they're working on it, but they haven't really done it yet. We're American, so yes, your grades could transfer over. So
Okay.
your associate's degree, what you get here, we're all totally fine with that. That means you've done your gen eds. Then you go, you might have to do 1 or 2 liberal arts. You might have to do the odd thing, but you can make that up in summer, or you can make it up at like 6 classes in a semester if you have to. Most of the time, it shouldn't be a problem. You should be able to go straight in. A lot of our students come as transfer students from the US.
Okay, but does like whatever credits I would earn here, and then let's say I come back, like COC, those would transfer back.
They should. You've got to talk to CSC. You've got,
Oh.
we're American, so we've never had a problem with courses transferring back, but we have an agreement, for instance, say with USC down the road. So we have USC students come for a while. They have a gen ed course on writing, which they insist USC students do their writing course. They can't do a writing course anywhere else. So it depends on university. So maybe your writing course won't transfer, but your history or anthropology or economics will, It depends on the institution that you're coming back to.
Thank you.
It'd be good before you leave, and then you will get a course list, and then come to ISP, and then we'll arrange for you to talk to the counselor here. So while we would like before students get on the airplane, they know what classes they take will transfer back, classes they take may not transfer back. Doesn't mean you won't, but you have a clear picture of, okay, so if I'm planning to transfer to UC Berkeley in a year or 2 years, they say, and I want to go to London to study abroad for a semester, I come back. So you can plan what classes that you already have that you could transfer back as part of the degree program and then transfer to UC system.
The other thing I wanted to add is we're a 2-year institution, so they're a full university. So if we take upper division classes, and I know for sure those won't transfer back here, but if you decide to transfer out, you still keep your transcripts, because if you go to CSUN, you go to UCLA, you want to show them those if they're upper division, so that they can count them for you. So that's another option.
We are particularly excited about this university for 3 reasons. One, we have the opportunity to visit the university. We always like to do site visit, and then by visiting them, by being in contact with people there, we feel really good and comfortable in recommending this university to our students. So if we consider that we have a 26 university partnership, this one I'm really excited about. I've seen them, and I know the people that offer scholarship for our students, and they are very encouraged. Not all European universities are like that. And for some students, I just want to go. Okay, great. We have those kind of universities we choose from. But students say, I really would like to consider getting a degree there. This is one of the very few universities we will recommend to our American students, because they are an American university. For us, scholarship is always a bonus to them. And as you can see, the variety of the classes. If you would
Go back.
Some of the university will work with a lot of limited because they are focused, right? But if you look at the choices of the BA that students could have, And better yet, they articulate our associate degree directly into it. Like what Professor Nam was saying there, that you may have to take not one or two, that's the first 2 years common education area, but then you go into as a junior, very much like you would as you transfer to California State University or CSU or UCs. So all these majors, and then that's some, and those are, as you probably can tell, it's really good for students in your generation to be global minded in that sense, right? Yes, you can get a degree like that in USC or at CSUN, for example. It's a great university, but in the global world, if you are here for 2 years and then you go to London and get a degree from there, I would like to believe that your future will open up a lot more opportunities for you to consider what you want to do.
We also do it reverse. We have British and EU students who come to us for their associate degree and then go on to America because it's more, it's cheaper for them. You know, to do 4 years in the US is so expensive as a foreign student or out of state student. So they'll do 2 years with us and then transfer. It also works the other way.
Yeah, our classes are 3 and 4 credits. So 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 classes are 3 credits, or the 6,000 classes are 4. So you transfer back more credits from 6,000 classes.
What is international history?
So that is history. Well, we wanted to make a point that some history departments just do their own histories. Like some, I've been to a few schools in the US, a few schools in Britain, and this is more, again, more relevant for Britain maybe, but they'll just do British history or American history. The idea is we want to make sure that our classes, the material which is coming to classes is not just restricted to Western perspective. So I teach a course on extreme right. Yes, I teach Italy and Germany, but I've got Iraq in there, India in there, South Africa in there, South America. That's so in the class we do different things, but also the types of stuff we do is, you know, the big course on. I know in America this is more common to the Americas, but in the UK, Europe, it's not such a common thing. So we'll have a course on maybe Latin American history or Southeast Asia, that kind of thing. Also, it's a separate course entirely. That's what it means.
So chance students.
I think my first question here, Ken.
Is there financial aid apart from scholarships?
Yes, so as we also were recognized by the US government, and so you can also get your financial aid from the government to come to us as well.
Okay, thanks.
And
So
we have-
students would fill out a FAFSA just
Yeah.
like they would here.
Yeah, and we've got an officer, any questions that Kara, when you write to Kara with those questions, Kara would send it to our colleague Jason, who would sort it out for you. It's a good question.
For studying abroad, individuals, do we have to do part-time or full-time?
You have to do full-time, so, but full-time is considered only 3 classes. If you wanted to work, you can, but again, you have to apply for the visa. So if you wanted to do any like work in a pub or like some students do, or babysit, you have to do it on the counter, but things like a pub or restaurant, that kind of thing, you have to get the visa for that. And there are jobs in that area.
Oh, yes.
Do they have in-campus for students?
Not really, they have a little bit, because it's so small. Britain is much smaller. Like Britain is like about 2/3 the size of California. So you'll see things are a lot smaller in general. That's why we kind of like this accommodation, because it's the rooms are quite big, and compared to, and they're singles, you know, compared to even American stuff. Some Americans thought, oh wow, this is better than my home campus. So, but mostly things are smaller, which means I'm teaching right now at a school on the East Coast. I'm being seconded up there to teach, and they've got this massive campus. They've got 1,200 students as well, but it's like they've got basketball, football courts, a big gym. London, we don't have that. We just have, you know, it's a small thing. So the jobs aren't there, but there are lots of jobs outside. Again, I think post-COVID, whatever, because of Brexit again, we don't have that many workers. So there is a demand for people working, particularly in, say, service industry, which is great for you, you know, for as a student.
For housing costs, does financial aid or scholarships cover that, or do you pay out of pocket?
It depends. So we've got a scholarship which we've given to College of Canyons, and that scholarship is £6,000. So geez, no tuition on the scholarship at all, so it's free tuition, and the scholarship is another $6,000, which you can use towards your housing or towards your airfare. So that you've got that. So that's a big chunk. The rest you have to pay. But I think that, technically that should
Yeah, that
cover
cover.
your accommodation and
the
your
air-
flight.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
a
does.
couple dollars extra, but
Yeah.
that's
It won't cover subsistence costs.
it won't cover
Or
meals
transfer costs.
in the
London.
city, but it should cover pretty much all of that.
Oh,
That's why
yeah.
we chose that price. Should we tell them the other news as well?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're actually gonna give you guys 2 scholarships. So you got 2 full scholarships for this year, because we wanted to give it, we only got 3 or 4 scholarships available, and your faculty and staff here, they're so onto it, they're ahead of the game, and our other partners were behind in signing the agreement, so they couldn't do it in time. So we were only gonna give 1 to each of the colleges, but we thought, since you guys have been so super, you got your students on 2 scholarships for fall. Not for spring, but just
Yeah,
for
for fall.
here.
Then we get it going, we'll have more students know about your university, and then that's the goal, right? Even they may not have all scholarship, but some students could afford it, some students do want to have a bachelor's degree. So that's what we're encouraging to do, so, I want our students to be out.
And I still think even without scholarship, it's really reasonable.
Yeah.
I do really think it's a reasonable cost.
Our international students in studying fall, just give you the perspective, international students who are coming from anywhere in the world, except for America, if they want to come here to study for 1 year, they have to show us in their bank statement about $13,000. Because tuition is going to be roughly 15,000, between 13 and 15,000, depends on how many classes they need to take. As you know, Southern California cost of living is not low. So for any international student coming to study with us for 1 year, it's going to cost them about 30,000. So their cost in terms of when it comes to tuition is really low. When you think about I want to go get a degree outside my country, it's as affordable as it gets. Plus, you got really good people who take care of you.
Oh.
You don't know
Not me.
And I was really appreciative. We show up and then the whole room of people came, and then the vice president of the student services came, talk about this is how they take care of the students. And I listened to it, I was like, if my kid were younger, then this is what I want to send out kid. So my perspective when we go out to establish partnership is what I want to send my own child coming to study here. And then this is the university saying, yeah, I wish my daughter has some graduated, but no, that would be something that I would want her to do. That's the ISP's philosophy when we approach partnership, where we want our own kids to go and study at that institution. If not, we are not as enthusiastic. I mean, I would not be sitting here the whole time, but you will just take care of it.
No, I get that. That's what I mentioned about my daughter on the undergrad as well. I would send my daughter on the undergrad if I thought it was unsafe, it's good, it's fine. Even at night it runs, it's not scary at night.
No.
Yeah, and the value here too is really impressive to me when you think about your location, because if I were to send my kids to, say, New York to study or Chicago to study or something, it's an incredibly expensive endeavor to send them over there just to live. This is quite valuable.
London is one of the most expensive cities in the world.
Right, so when you have this cost for tuition and scholarship opportunities, that's
Oh, yeah, that's a good
unbelievable.
opportunity.
It's great.
We're doing our best. It's hard to sustain it, but
Yeah.
we're doing our best.
It's impressive.
Very need technical education. Yeah, one more minute. Last minute questions, comments? Nobody's going, nobody's ready.
Thank you.
Anything?
And we can have the final screen so that they want to see
Oh, my email
contact me.
address.
Yeah, if you guys want to take a screenshot, of course, I'm gonna send this out as well, but
Yeah.
I want you to have that.
Oh, yeah, just send me an email if you have any questions.